Hey residents of Meepletown, today we are looking at a follow-up game to a game that we quite enjoy called Snowdonia. We're looking at Alubari, a
spot of tea.
a nice cup of tea.
I don't know, I just put 3 fingers up. That's not how it goes, is it?
Just one.
Spot of tea.
A nice cup of tea.
Alright, so Alubari is ready to roll in all of its glory.
Alubari.
No. And guess what, Dean? Literally, see, he always gets to go first, but not this time, because the rules state whoever just drank, or whoever drank the last cup of tea goes first. And I literally just finished a cup of chai tea and didn't even mean to. I didn't mean to. I didn't realize it, but I literally have. So not only do I get to go first, I get 100 bonus points for drinking a cup of chai tea first. That's inaccurate.
That's quite the bonus for drinking tea.
Oh, that is inaccurate. But hey, I do get to go first. So we're gonna just, as we always do, we're gonna just dive right in and start playing the game, and you can kind of see the rules as we go. Now we're both gonna start off with 2 workers. And I am going to place my first worker.
FYI, this is not a final production copy of this game.
Yeah, we
should need to mention that. So
yeah, early on.
Yeah, this is an earlier production, but the gameplay is you'll get an idea from the gameplay. Mm-hmm. It's Thomas the Train.
I'm gonna go right here. Actually, I'll lay it down so they can see it better.
All right, good idea. All right, so right now we're just placing our workers, and then once we've placed them all, then we'll be able to gather stuff up. What's our work rate over there right now? We got a 3 work rate.
It is 3, 1, and 1.
Start off by grabbing a contract. I haven't even looked at those yet.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're getting a contract right off the rip.
Yep. That's how I rip and roll.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna remove a little bit of rubble.
All right, and then I'm going to place this up here because I will need some resources to be able to do stuff, and I'll also get that first player marker. So what we do now, that after we've placed all of our workers, we're going to go down this line in order, taking those actions.
That's right, so it's a very simple worker placement. All right, so I'm going to remove this, and I can get 3 of these, only 1 of the chai teas, though. If you've placed Snowdonia, this has basically changed the place with the coal that you had in that game. I'm gonna grab 1 of those and a chai tea. Now, one thing that's also different about this is we're actually gonna discard the chai, toss it out of here, and move up on the chai track, which is interesting because when we spin chai now, these are victory points down here. When we spin chai, we're actually gonna lose victory points. So I like that.
All right, so I will take my worker off, and I'll take that first player marker, please.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm just gonna take 3 of the orange ore tokens so that hopefully I can produce some steel here in a little while.
All right, I'm going to remove rubble. Now you will notice, I'll go ahead and mention this, that there are these little things below every single action, which this is a really cool part of Alubari. You can spend a chai tea to increase the power of any action here. So, like if I wanted to spend my chai tea, I could actually remove 6 rubble instead of 3 by coming over here to this track. And that's actually tempting because I could go ahead and get 2 tea estates. I'm gonna do that.
Do it, man.
I'm gonna spin the chai to remove 6 rubbles. Now when I do that, I put my markers on here, which are gonna give me 1 victory point apiece. And then also, whenever we do, it's not production, it's crop growing. Whenever we grow crops, I'm gonna get 2 crops because I have 2 markers on that tea estate.
Yeah, which can be pretty powerful as the game goes on. So I'm just gonna take my marker right here, or my worker, and I think what I'm gonna do is snag this spot right here because I would like to be able to remove some extra rubble during the excavation action at some point during the game.
There you go. So that's the end of the first round. It goes just like this, especially with 2 players. So we're going to slide these down. If there was a card on the end of this, it would fall off. But there's not. Ooh, look, there's a nice sunshine there. So we're going to also slide these down here. Put sunshine back here. When it's sunny, we're going to move up 2 on the track for removing rubble and 1 on the track laying a track.
That's right. All right, if I can get that bag over there, I'm going to put some new cubes out.
Dean's going to pull 6 cubes out of the bag for a 2-player game.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yowzers. All right, and one of these comes out, so I'm going to drop that right there, which is going to be removing.
It is. We're going to remove
Rubble.
rubble. So that's what the white cubes, as in Snowdonia, if you're familiar with it, they're going to cause an action. One thing that's different in this than Snowdonia is this track is not linear, as in Snowdonia. This is a rondelle, so we're going to keep going around and around, and we could do this again. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the next 2 tea estates here, and we're going to remove all the rubble from them. So from this one and from this one. And those are going to be put into my personal supply.
Nope, they will not. Nice try.
I thought I might get you there. And we're going to mark it with a third party there. So now Dean nor
I'm getting pushed out.
That.
That's right.
You're getting pushed out just like that. And let's rock and roll, man.
So I'm going to start this one off. I'm going to put here to remove some rubble off of there.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to go here to get the first player marker back.
All right, and I will put right here to get some more resources.
Okay.
Turns are really fast in this, by the way, as you can tell. Just like Snowdonia, if you've played that, you know that, like, bam, 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 you're putting your workers out, and then you just take your actions, rounds in very quickly. Trying to figure out a contract over there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. Take this. Yep. I think I will adjust that. I think so. I'm kind of unconfident in that, but that's what I'm gonna do.
What are you gonna do?
All right.
All right. So I'm gonna take my worker off here, and I'm just gonna take 2 of these and 1 of the chai to throw into the trash can.
Oh, you can't do that.
It's a legacy game. All right, giving me 1 up on the track there.
I was rejecting your hand. I did move you up on the track.
Okay,
All right.
I just want to make sure.
Get that hand out of here. Man, Dean didn't give me a lot of choices there. But I'm going to toss that and go up on the chai tea track as well. Grab my worker. All right.
All right, and what I'm going to do, I didn't check to see here. There's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 in each of those spots. Is that right? Or no, 6 and then 7.
I think 6. Move it over. Yeah.
That's 6, and this one has 7.
Now this is a pre-production copy. There are circular discs that represent 5 of these rebels in the actual copy, so it makes it a lot cleaner.
Okay, so I'd have to remove 13 from here to do that. The work rate is 5. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, so I'm removing my worker here. I'm going to spend a chai, which would give me 3, and that is 8. And I'm going to use this card, which will double all of that. So it'll double your work rate, and that says work rate plus any bonuses it doubles. So that is going to be a total of 16 that'll be
wow.
So that is going to be...
That's a lot of... Man, you got Rebel for days,
13, 14, 15, 16.
Perfect move.
That I have.
Wow,
and
that's
I'll be able to put
4 and 5 victory
there.
points. Dean is thoroughly destroying me at the moment, it looks
Game
like.
over. Let's just go ahead and
end
end
over, man. Game over. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do this now. I'm going to remove this worker, and I'm going to take this contract here to remove some rubble, kind of like you had, but also would like to have those bonuses for at the end.
That can be really helpful.
All right, this is going to slide off. I'm going to flip that over there so we don't get confused about that being available.
While he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and remove these 6 cubes out. 4, 5, 6, and wow, 3 chai came out that time. Okay. That's not normal. All right.
When I see people in the street, I'm like, chai.
All right, so we...
Oh, you got, wait, hold up. Let me do this real quick. If you don't mind, let me do this.
I got you.
So... in this game, there's actually something that I like about it, if I could talk, is that rain is not the worst thing in the world. Now, we are going to go down on the rubble track. We're also going to go down on the train track, but we're going to go up on the little production growing crops track. When it gets to the end of either this one or this one, if we need to get another one, it would actually go back around and we would do we would grow our crops again. It's based on these, so it's 1 per estate, part of the estate. So Dean would get 2, and I would also get 2 if that were to happen. I wanted to mention that because it might not happen in this little bit of a playthrough right here. So go for it, Dean.
All right, so then we got this right here, which is going to move that up on their 2 spots. All right.
Wow, so now we're getting really close.
One thing I didn't mention is that with the card that I used earlier, with the bonus on there, I turned it to the side because that's a one-time use thing. Now, I do get the bonus points if I can complete the bottom part at the end of the game, but I only get to use that part 1 time.
That's right.
All right.
All right, so it is... actually, I didn't take the first player marker, even though I should have.
There you go. Go for it.
All right, so Wow, I'm just gonna keep getting some resources at this point in the game.
I don't know if we mentioned, maybe we did, but
I did.
Yeah, about just getting one there.
I mentioned it.
You got it. All right, now I got rid of my contract. I'm really interested to potentially get another one, but I also would like to be able to get some steel production going. So I think what I will do is, wow, there's only one of those spots. I'm just gonna take that and hope for the best, I guess.
Okay,
there we go.
Go there.
Yeah, what I was hoping is that John would not take that spot, so I'd have a chai to be able to get a better action on that one. So, all right, your turn.
All right, so I'm just going to grab 2 of these and 1 of those. So I'll go up again on the chai tea track.
And I'll grab 2 stone, which I didn't really necessarily want. That's not awful. And I will get a chai.
Stop throwing my guy around.
Well, just throwing stuff over there. All right.
All right, so I'm going to remove this rubble. Now, it's a 4... It's on the 4 track, so I'm going to remove 4 from here. Then I'm going to play this card that says, after all other excavation acts are resolved, which there aren't anymore, you may take an additional 1 for a value of 6. So I really just wanted to kind of pay Dean back for taking those 2, and it made me nervous.
Yeah.
And now he's going to get equipment earlier in the game, and that's going to hurt me.
It's true, and that's what I was hoping to do. All right, so I'm going to take this action, and not just take that action, but I'm going to use the chai version of that action, and that's going to allow me to turn in 2 ore for steel instead of 3. These go back in the bag, they'll come out, so I'll get 2 of these, and I'll also... Now, I would like some stone as well because I have so much rubble, but right now I'm going to hold off on that because I want to see what kind of cards come out. Potentially I might use the rubble for getting bonus points at the end of the game. So right now I'm just going to take the steel.
So that's it.
That's right. Boom. Oh, and I did get the first player marker from that time too. So, but I think that's a good idea of how the game plays out, right?
I'll say one more round.
You want to play one more?
One more,
okay.
just so we can show the equipment. You know, no one did any of this, so we need to talk about like.
Oh, that's right.
That as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, let's do that. One more real quick round because the rounds are quick. So all right, so this is actually good because now that we've knocked this down, it's sunny. We're gonna go 1, 2, and it's gonna do that production. So we're gonna actually do the production here. So I get 4 tea leaves and Dean gets 2. So I like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Daddy likes that.
I mean, it's good for you, but also getting tea leaves. I'm happy with that too.
Yeah. So we can. I don't know if someone will take the place, so I'll take the spot here. But here we're able to either grab a tea leaf or convert an infinite amount of tea leaves into chai tea. So this can be. I'll just go ahead and say I like this much better than the Surveyor.
That's right.
It's just a lot more thinky, I think, on the action. So I like that quite a bit. Yeah. So anyway, with that being said, we got one of those. So that means we are going to lay a track, and it is on 1. So look at this. The computer or whatever actually gets this first spot. This is a good spot because this is what happens in this game. When this spot has been laid, they're going to get 4 victory points at the end, plus they're going to get a chai tea. Of course, that would be us if we got it. But it now opens up every station here up into this bridge again. So now we can actually build on any of these station spots. So if we open up that one, it would actually then open up all of these other ones until the next one, which is a little bit different than Snowdonia.
Right, right. I was actually hoping to be able to take that spot just to be able to get the points and the chai on there. So anyway, that is it's my turn, correct? Yep. All right, so I'm going to go up here to hopefully snag one of those equipment cards that John was talking about. So while he's looking at where he's going to place, I'm just going to keep an eye on those equipment cards and see what I want to take.
Oh, okay.
I'm not quite sure what I want yet.
I'm going to go right
here. Let's see. I think I would like some more. Take some more resources, I think. How about that?
Okay. I'm going to take a spot right there. Ready, rock and roll, baby?
All right. Yes. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll remove my worker, and I'm just going to take 2
You will remove that worker.
Of those again, and that chai. Up 1 there. Okay.
Okay. Man, I feel like this is kind of any...
I forgot what this card does.
No, I'm actually going to... I'm just going to remove this, trade 3 of these in. Let me put that back in the bag, please, for 1 of these. And then I'm also going to trade in, I can do 3 of these actions, so I'm going to trade in 2 or 4 rubble for 2 stone. Now, whenever I take the stone, I can choose whether to take them from here or from the bag, and I'm going to go ahead and just take them from there. Your turn.
All right. Let's see. Now I'm going to take an equipment card. What I'd really like is to be able to take this one, which is the Shunter is one of my favorites on there, but it actually costs 3 chai instead of costing the normal steel cost. So I think what I'm going to take is the toy train for now. It's an expensive one.
Yeah.
It's going to cost me 2 steel bars. But whenever, it also comes with the chai if you'll move me up there. Whenever you use the stockyard with a worker, you gain a tea leaf. So every time I'm taking the stockyard to gain those resources, I'll be able to gain tea leaves, which I'll then be able to convert into chai or potentially get end-game points or other things that you can do with it. So
yeah, so Dean made a mistake there, which is good for me, because he just hasn't played the game as much as I have. So I am going to take my worker off here, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to build a station. There's a station spot here that requires one of these, and then, whoops, I missed that. And so that's how you build stations.
This is not the first time I've made this mistake, by the way.
So this is where I'm going to either build a station or get an equipment. But this equipment spot says I get, or this station spot says I get an equipment, and I can get whichever one I want. So I'm going to get the one that costs 2 at the moment, just because I feel like I have to. Even though there's some other ones that I would really like. I like this one a lot early in the game too, because this one says that in a round where an event comes out, I get my 3rd worker for free. But this says whenever you build at least 1 track, I'm going to gain a chai tea. That would not be a bad chai tea kind of building engine to have if I plan on laying a lot of track. Yikes, man. I'm going to do it. And this one comes with a chai tea as well, so I should have put some chai tea on this, by the way. I didn't do that. Stupid John, stupid John.
Well, stupid Dean for also not doing this action.
I felt obligated to take the one that cost. I almost took this one. Oh, I'm so tempted. I was so tempted to take that one because my 3rd worker could only cost 2. I'm just in. Yep.
Oh wow. Well, that's the game over anyway.
I just decided to go for it.
I win.
All right.
So that's we would do the resetting again at the end of that one. But let's go ahead and get to our thoughts.
So our ardent components is how we generally go off.
Right.
Go off. Is how we generally
go off.
We go off. We get angry about them. No, how we generally move to. Now we can't say a whole lot. We can say a little bit because this is a pre-production copy. Obviously, you may see some Scotch tape here, Right. It didn't come with that. The regular game doesn't come with Scotch tape. But I can mention that I like the art on this game. I think the art is pretty solid, pretty nice. The art on the trains. I like the board. I think it's really fairly clean. I like how these things pop out and you can easily see the iconography. It doesn't just blow my mind and wow me, but I like it.
Yeah, the art's fine for me. I don't like it as much as John does, but I will say that I don't know if in the final production you have these really tiny discs, or if they're bigger discs.
I think you do, maybe because they fit like right there.
Yeah, so that if they're the tinier disc, why not make them bigger? You got that whole space to be able, I guess that's a small complaint.
It's a tiny complaint.
It is a tiny complaint. But yeah, the art, it doesn't really grab me. I would not get this game. Like, I wouldn't look at this game on the shelf and say, wow, I got to have that game based on the art. But that's just me.
I wouldn't, but I like it. And then also these workers are a little different. They look like the guys digging, I believe.
Right.
So there's definitely differences. So don't look at this and go, that's it. But the art is pretty much the art. So anyway, let's move on to gameplay.
All right. So the gameplay, I think if you played Snowdonia, you're going to look at this and say, "Wow, that looks very familiar." Because
extremely.
There's a lot of the same things that you're doing, but the additions that Tony Boydell made from Snowdonia to this, I think are really good. I really enjoy this chai tea track. I think that adds a layer of complexity, but not in a bad way, like in a good way, from the coal. Like, it kind of works the same way as coal, not fully, but to gain extra workers and things like that, but also to be able to take those extra bonuses on the actions. I think all that's really cool. I really enjoy that part.
100%.
That's probably my favorite part, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, absolutely for me. Absolutely. It adds that extra little layer of complexity, like you said. Really knowing when to take these, and because you're going to lose a victory, or even 2 victory points if you're here.
Yeah.
2 victory points if you're up here to take one of these actions. So but of course you can say, who cares? Because you can never go above this. I'll just make sure I get to the full by the end. Right. Which is that's a good strategy. But when to take those actions, I think really, really matters over the course of the game. And you're also using this to get the 3rd worker, as we mentioned as well. So when do I take my 3rd worker versus when do I save up to use some of these actions, which you saw us make some pretty powerful actions, Dean and I both, by adding the 3 rebel, which really helped us both a tremendous amount. So yeah, this is absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. And I like this, as I mentioned earlier, over the Surveyor for sure. This action card here, because it's not just moving around on the board. Now, with different scenarios with Snowdonia, it's a little more interesting. But with the base game, this is just much better. Also, I like how this is a rondelle. I think that's kind of interesting because, especially when it comes to equipment cards. Now, we did not mention that in this game, you can have as many what they call equipment train engines as you want. But you've also got to pay for them as you do in Snowdonia, but you also can pay with chai tea instead of just the iron, the steel. So that's actually interesting. But in this game, it could come back around to it. So by the end of the game, if you potentially had 3, equipments, that could be quite the price tag. And if you don't have those and you lose the equipment, which is going to lose you 9 or maybe even 16 victory points, depending on what cards you have. So you don't want to lose those. I like that quite a bit. Yeah,
and the engine building from those equipment cards of being able to gain more, that's really a big plus. Now, I would imagine, we talked about this on the podcast, could you just do that in Snowdonia? Could you just gain extra engines? I don't know. I don't know if that messes with the balance or not, but I do like that addition. It's almost like in this whole process, you can almost see the gears running in Tony Boydell's mind about the changes that he wanted to make from Snowdonia, which is a great game. That's both of our we rated it really highly. But then you see Alubari just seems like this love letter to this game that he's already really passionate about. And I think it really shows. All of those changes seem to be positive.
Yeah, I want to say one last change that we mentioned is the weather. And I really like this because in Snowdonia, you're going to get discouraged whenever you see the rain. Yeah. But here, it will grow your crops. So, it'll grow up this crop growing track. I just spit on the board there, on the table. But, that's really nice because you don't feel so bad. Fog stinks. You never want to see fog. But whenever you have the rain, it's not so bad, and I like that. And I like the idea of having these tea leaves, and then you can convert them into chai, or you could put them on this station right here, which none of us did, to score victory points. And they're also worth a victory point for every 2, I believe, at the end. If I got that wrong, just looked off that. Yep, that's what it is. So I like it, and I agree with Dean 100%. I'm going to use that into my final thoughts.
Yeah,
is that okay?
Go for it.
This absolutely feels like Tony sat back for a long time and said, I'd like to tweak this or I'd like to tweak that. I'll say that even though Dean and I both like Snowdonia, our concerns are the base game only can get a little bit samey, for sure. That's why we really enjoy the Deluxe Master set, which could never get samey because there's so much material in that thing. But we still do like the base game of Snowdonia. So if I'm going to compare this to Snowdonia base game, I'm going to say I like this better. I like this better because of the chai tea. Way better. I really love that chai. I don't love it way better, but this makes it better for sure. I like the weather, as I mentioned, and I like some of these other little tweaks about opening up these bridges and going to the different stations and stuff like that. So it feels very Snowdonia, though. So if you don't like Snowdonia, I don't think you're going to like Alubari, a nice cup of tea.
Sure.
I just don't think. But if you like Snowdonia and you're looking for something a little bit different, I think that you might really like this. I personally, again, believe this is better than the base game. Now, I'll ask the question here in just a second, Dean. We'll talk about it very briefly, whether it's worth it to get this if you have Snowdonia. But I'm going to say I like this better than Snowdonia. I was wrestling between an 8.5 and a 9. I'm going to bump it up. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. So I really, really enjoy this game.
Yeah, and if I remember right, the deluxe set, you gave that a
9.5. I gave it down to 9.5. So we'll talk about that. Go ahead and do that, and then we'll briefly talk about the...
all the things John just said, I agree with. This is for all intents and purposes, this is Snowdonia 2.0 with a slight retheme. That's what this is. I gave Snowdonia an 8.5. I like Alubari slightly better, but not enough to bump it up to a 9 for me. I'm going to keep
Makes
it.
sense.
I'll have Alubari at an 8.5, but a better 8.5 than the 8.5 for Snowdonia. Now I'm gonna jump into that
Yes.
conversation. So I own Snowdonia Master Deluxe
Master Set.
Deluxe Master Set. There we go. I don't feel the need to get Alubari because they're that similar. I just don't need to have it in my collection. And because of all the content that you get in that, there's just a lot in there. Now they could do the same thing with Alubari, and that would be great. But here's the thing: if I did not own Snowdonia at all, and I was having to make a decision between Snowdonia and Alubari, for me, I think Alubari is a no-brainer in that instance. Now, if you already own Snowdonia, the base game without the expansions, that's your call. Because I think this adds enough to make it a different enough game. And because Snowdonia could get kind of samey, you might want to also pick this up potentially.
I really agree with everything that he said. So
Hey,
if you have the Deluxe Master Set, if I don't have that actually, so I get to be you're in two different positions.
We are.
You
That's
have
right,
it.
that's
You
right.
say you wouldn't buy this.
I
I
would.
don't have it. I don't even have Snowdonia. I just have a friend that has the Deluxe Master Set that we get to play. So I would absolutely pick this up, and I would pick this over Snowdonia base game. Now, if I had the monies, which is almost $100, I would buy the Deluxe Master Set of Snowdonia over Alubari. That's what I would do. Now, this price tag is under $50 versus $100, and so me being a little bit of a penny pincher, I think I would just probably go with this because this is quite nice. And my buddy, one of my good buddies, has the Deluxe Master Set. So if you have Snowdonia base game, would you? I think I might pick this up.
I would consider it,
I would
yeah.
because again, it can be a little bit samey with Snowdonia sometimes. I feel like that. You guys may not feel like that, and that's perfectly fine. You're entitled to your own opinion. But if you want something that's a little bit different that adds the little extra with the chai tea and stuff, I think this is a brilliant game. I really enjoy it. I would very much consider getting this.
Yep. Of course, we really enjoy this game.
Yeah, it's a good
I'm at
game.
an 8.5. John's at a 9. And tell people how they can get in touch with us.
If you are enjoying our channel, we'd love for you to click that subscribe button and even click the bell notifications if you want to know when we're coming out with new videos like this one. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All those are at Meepletown Games. We mentioned our podcast. You can look us up on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, a bunch of stuff like that. Just look up Meepletown. And finally, we are Board Game Geek Guild 3407.
Thanks for coming down to Meepletown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at Meepletown Games, and connect with us on the Meepletown Guild, Guild number 3407, at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to Meepletown.